All right, since we're discussing about the situations that happened a few years ago, I wanted to point this place out in particular. I used to work from this place from 2015 to 2018, and the new owners that took over in 2018, they don't give a fuck about anybody. Here in 2018, they were threatening a general manager with a newborn son to quit his job, and then they started going after mentally disabled people and telling them, get the fuck out, you don't belong. And then 2 years later, after the new owners bought out in 2018, they filed for bankruptcy, which honestly, you deserve to. The same year that I got fired from your bum-ass corporation was the same year I made Employee of the Month. And you know what? Thanks to you dumbasses, I landed a better contract. I don't need your stupid-ass company getting in my fucking way. But yeah, this right here, this used to be the Regal Cinemas I worked at from 2015 to 2018. The same year I made Employee of the Month, they told me, STFU, get the fuck out, you don't belong. They also threatened a general manager who had a newborn son to take care of at the time to quit his job. Imagine that. Imagine being a general manager for these people and you're being told by the CEOs to go fuck off while you have a mouth to feed. Can you imagine that? I actually ran into that old general manager somewhere else that I'm not going to discuss, but I'm glad he's doing better. Because a general manager with a newborn son should not have to put up with that shit. What the fuck you looking at? That bum-ass manager was about ready to call security. Well, guess what? You don't know where I parked, you don't know where I drive, you don't know where I work, so fuck you. Definitely tell that these mall people fired their security. You got a Ford Escape over here with a flat-ass tire that's collecting spider webs over here. Man, you really that bankrupt that you gotta do that shit now?
Because I'm driving, you're driving, there's other people on the fucking road, not just you.
Yeah, why'd you fucking cut me off?
I didn't cut you off, what the fuck?
I have you on fucking camera, you dumbass.
Alright, whatever, dude. Fuck you too. He's like, run! That's how it sounds like when my cat fucks. I swore I've never wanted to talk about the situations that have occurred a few years ago. But since life is looking up and things are getting better, I wanted to discuss what happened a few years ago with just some of the atrocities that I was involved in. Exactly 4 years ago was when everything started. But before that, Regal Cinemas had basically told me, you know, go fuck yourself, you don't belong. The same year that I made Employee of the Month after working there for 3 years and busted my ass off, the new CEOs came in and they just fucked up the place. I wanted to talk about the situations that arose that led up to the whole Twitch stream situation. So, I swore to never talk about this situation because it's old and I really don't care about the whole situation. I've moved on past it. I've changed my life around. I've been doing better things, you know, helping out non-profit organizations, you know, working full-time, part-time hours, helping out charities, traveling places. But when everything went to shit, it was exactly 4 years ago. I was tired of going to funerals every year, and my Nana had been sick for a while. She passed away in her sleep, and at the time, I felt like I was on, you know, the edge of life. I felt like, you know, my life didn't matter anymore. I was actually at the point where I was about ready to call an ambulance on myself and have myself mentally committed. I felt like I couldn't continue anymore with life. After my Nana had passed away, I was already going through a midlife crisis. I was still looking for a job. I was spending time with the Goodwill job supervisor. When I was doing the courier services was another thing when, you know, impacted when Regal Cinemas had basically told me, go fuck off. That was the only thing I could do at the time to stay, you know, have some money in my pocket. I tried applying at several places. I was applying at movie theaters. I was applying at Walmart, Albertsons, Goodwill, Dollar Tree, Lowe's. I was applying at several places to try to get, you know, some source of income because, well, I was jobless at the time. And all I had left was just a crumbling hatchback and just a delivery service. And a lot of the places, they never even bothered looking over my application. They technically went through the interview process, but would never give a man a job who really needed, some source of income to go through, who technically had no experience with working in like grocery store, but is willing to learn. And that's kind of the situation that's wrong with America nowadays, is a lot of people that submit their applications that really need employment, they don't get looked at seriously. And, there's these qualified candidates out there that want to hire people, but they end up turning down people. What's funny is one of the places I applied at was Kroger. And Kroger deleted my application, didn't even bother giving me a chance when I needed a job. But what's funny is they hired my uncle, who was an alcoholic, who has now been deceased for almost 2 years now. My uncle basically drank himself to death, and he couldn't bear with the loss of my Nana passing away yet again. This was 2020 or later. My Nana had passed away in 2020, and I was just tired of going to funerals every year. It was like a funeral every single year in my family. And I was fed up. I was going through a midlife crisis. I just started questioning life to even wonder if it was even worth living anymore. And I know it's some degrading, disgusting topic to talk about, but when everything happened over these past 4 years, I was just going through a shitty time. I was going through a midlife crisis. I was just tired of everything. And the health examiner basically tried to have me detained because I was just sick and tired of going to funerals every year. It was every single fucking year that I was going to a funeral, and it was just degrading. It was bad. And I was going through a midlife crisis. I felt like my life didn't matter anymore. Now, with the situations that happened with my family a couple years ago, I'm going to go ahead and go into it, and it's going to be some disturbing details. Between 2016 and 2022 was just basically a funeral every year. When my brother Christopher passed away in 2016, everything started happening in the wrong way. My dad's other son was found deceased, technically him and his girlfriend, with syringes in their arms, technically a opioid overdose. And the worst part is they had an infant in the house when they started getting involved with heroin or opioids. They were both found dead with syringes in their arms with a newborn, to take care of. And then from there, it started getting worse. I lost 2 aunts in one day. One of them died from cancer, and the other one, the same day, 6 hours later, from liver failure. And then we go to the situation where my Nana passed away in her sleep, and my uncle drank himself to death, alongside with the fact that my sister had an unborn failure of a kid. And the kid ended up dying in the system. And it was just atrocity after atrocity, which, between 2016 and 2022, every single year there was always something that fucked up in the family. And then about a few weeks after my Nana had passed away, I had gotten dumped. The bitch didn't even stay around to support a grieving family. She left a few weeks after my Nana had passed away, which added even more bullshit to the plate. Now, there was a lot of situations that had occurred shortly after, it was just a terrible time. Which, to be honest, between 2020 and 2022 is when the situation with the Twitch streamers started arising. I don't want to go into too much detail about it because I don't care about it, because I've moved on from it and I've completely just blanked out any harassment from it. But when he made those streams about me, I was just going through a shitty fucking time. Like I said, I was at my wits. I was almost on a midlife crisis. I was just... To be fair, I shouldn't have made those videos. Yes, I will agree with those. But back then, I was unhinged and I was just sick of fucking everything. I was going through a really fucking shitty time. And, between trying to find employment and dealing with cops on my case and a courier service that paid like shit and a car that was going through parts every week, alongside with the fact that I was just tired of going through funerals and I was on the verge of, already having a midlife crisis, like my life didn't matter anymore. It was that fucking degrading and that bad. Now, I will admit there was some clips that were featured in the stream that had to deal with some road rage aggression, and you also got to take in consideration of that fact that I was just I was going through a terrible time. That's as best as I could put it. Is I was just going through a shitty fucking time in my life. And this is exactly why I said I didn't want to talk about this, because it's a road of horrible shit. It just really is. You know, you have my nana that passed away, my uncle that drank himself to death, my aunt that died from cancer, my aunt that died from liver failure, my sister that had an unborn kid that died in the system, and then you have my dad's other son that was found dead with his girlfriend with syringes in their arms, alongside that after Regal had told me to fuck off in 2018 that I was having trouble finding work. I mean, I was putting in work, I was putting in applications, you know, I was putting into a bunch of places that said that they were hiring. They never looked over my application. They never gave a man a chance. And I had spent days to weeks to months with the Goodwill job supervisor trying to get another line of work, you know, just to make some source of income. And nothing came about until 2021. And even in 2021, and I want to talk about this situation real quick. In 2021, I came close to just, you know, calling it quits on life and just stopping on submitting applications. And the one moment that I almost came close to, you know, giving up on submitting job applications, a gift from God had given me a job opportunity. Out of all the places that I had applied at, which is like numerous times, to just places that were hiring just to, you know, be employed again, just to at least have some type of income coming in, they basically just turned me away and told me to fuck off. And even Regal Cinemas put me on a block list. And in 2021, I think it was about May 2021, after the pandemic, I almost came close to just giving up entirely and just saying that life is not worth it anymore. And then a gift from God of a general manager came in, and my phone rang with a job opportunity. And I'm still with those people to this day, and I'm thankful to be with them, because I don't know where I would be nowadays. Because, like, out of all the applications that I submitted, they were the only people that called. Like, I've submitted, like, over 10, 20 applications, and they were the only one to actually give me a line of work. I came close to just saying that, you know, life is not worth it, and, you know, I don't feel like anybody's actually taking anything into severity. And then a gift from God came in, and he's like, hey, look, we're reopening the building, we're reopening from the pandemic, we would like you to schedule an interview, we want you to be a part of the team. And I'm still with those people to this day, and I'm actually grateful that I'm with them, because I honestly don't know where I would be without these guys. I really don't. And it was just a very shitty time that happened. It just really was. Because, you know, between 2018 and 2020, I was just going through the worst situation imaginable, where everything that went to shit was happening. You know, people were dying in my family. I couldn't find work when I needed, you know, a job after Regal told me to fuck off. And they actually put me on a block list. I forgot to mention about that. And, you know, I had to rely on a clunky ass old car that was going through parts every week. And, you know, just courier services that paid like shit. It was a dark road of shit. It really was. Another thing I wanted to talk about is in 2022, I said some things like, I don't know if I'll ever be back. And I started talking some shit about this event. A lot of people called me out about it. A lot of people have forgiven me for my apologies and everything. When I was going through that situation 2 years ago at this event, I was just going through still a rough time. There was a lot of things that I was hoping on, you know, attending at this year's event in 2022. We had a better year this year, so at least there's a positive. One of the few things that I was dealing with in 2022 was there was a few staff members that were pushing me around and treating me differently, to the point where, you know, I distanced myself from the event, and I just, you know, kept quiet, and I stayed in the hotel room a good majority of the time. A lot of the staff members, they did apologize for the performance, and I also made my amends to apologize because, you know, some of it was also my wrongdoing because I was also still just going through a terrible time. One of the things I was mostly upset about was the meet and greet with Nicole Oliver, which I was so excited for it to happen. And I was like talking about it days on end on Facebook. And when it came time for the event in 2022, I never saw her. I never got a chance to go to the VIP meet and greet. And it set me off so bad to the point where that I had distanced myself from the 2023 event and I went to Seattle. You know, a lot of people called me out and, you know, were talking shit in my comment section when I released the video 2 years ago. And I also wanted to apologize for that as well because I was just going through a rough time, you know, between all the unmarked cops, the car that was going through parts every week, my Nana that was passing away, just all kinds of just bad atrocity ass bullshit that happened in this state. I was just not having a good time. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time and I just felt terrible. And I did admit that I did say some fucked up shit to them. And, you know, we both made amends. We had a greater year this year, but I thought I'd bring that up as well because I feel like some of the stuff that happened between 2018 and 2022 also impacted their 2022 event. And I also wanted to take full responsibility to say yet again that I'm sorry for everything I said a few years ago to piss people off or piss off the organizers or the staff members. I was just going through a really fucking shitty time a few years ago. So I was really looking forward to the meet and greet with Nicole Oliver though, but maybe someday we'll run into her again.